They're very courageous. They are a tiny little bird, and they take off on a flight across the ocean. It's amazing what courage these birds have. Oftentimes, I hear them before I see them, and then I know for sure they're back. There's just a little chirp. I think they know that we are there to help them.
Where's Tim? This belongs to him.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay. Does this work now? Anyway, welcome. I'm so happy to have you here. Please enjoy yourself. We have a lot of good food, plenty of stuff to drink, and we have 40 places on the porch and 30 places in the front yard. So help yourself.
Thanks, Laura.
They were actually semi-domesticated in this area by Native Americans who hung out gourds to dry. And martins began to nest in those gourds, and they would have a built-in security system because when someone would come up to the village, all the martins would fly out. Over thousands of years, a relationship developed between Native Americans and martins. They want to be near people.
Oh, here we go. We got like 5 or 6 of them here. Now, later in the season, they start to get kind of poopy. So let's see, we got, what, 5 of them? These guys are a couple of weeks out from flying.
Did anybody make an entry into the group last week? Because I was in touch with Steve, and he thought that we found 2 dead chicks, and it was Laura on Monday who found them.
Yeah, I don't think I did.
I know I did, because Steve thought I had done it, and I told him no. It's fun. We've had the same group for about 8 years now, and we've got a couple more people in it this year. It's a lot of fun. And Laura's just so generous with us. It's a good neighborhood activity. It's great.
I learned as a very small child about the importance of purple martins. I grew up in a small agricultural community. Most of the people were farmers. My dad was the feed store owner. We sold lots of seeds, and everybody had a garden. We didn't use chemicals. We relied on nature to take care of the bugs, and martins ate lots of bugs. So everybody had a martin house. And I was lucky enough to have an Uncle Earl who was the martin man. Everybody in Upshur County came to see Uncle Earl to get him to build a house. So I first learned about martins from him. Then I went to elementary school. And guess what? At the very front of the school was a martin house. I began to think of martins in a whole new way because Only the kids who scored the highest on their spelling test or on the Friday math test got the honor of cleaning out the Martin house. That's where I really learned about Martins personally. I knew how important they were to the community and to our economy. But as a girl in school, I began to see Martins as an integral part of my life. And that's where it all started. Every house I've ever lived in, I tried the first thing to set up a Martin house. And when I married and moved here, I immediately was given a Martin house for a wedding gift. And there was no place in this tree-laden yard that I could find. We owned that lot next door. It was just a vacant lot, and my husband intended, when the timing was right, to sell that. But I couldn't ever get Martins in our house over here, so I suggested we try over there, and he thought that was a good idea. So from then on, every time he'd get an offer, I would put up another house. And that's really why we have 20 now. All of a sudden, people were stopping by and saying, "What is this?" The bird lot had a life of its own. I decided that the way to get everybody involved would be to invite them over for supper. We started having a little Martin celebration when they arrived so that everybody can feel there is a place for you.
One of the real unique things about being a landlord and being part of the Purple Martin thing is the cycle of life. You get to witness the cycle of life in a matter of, 3 months. You get it all. You get the excitement of the birds coming and they fall in love. You get the excitement of the first eggs and more eggs, and then you get the babies. And then you get to see them fledge. And it's all been a span of, 3 months. And every year it's the same. Oh, there he goes. A jumper.
This is like chasing chickens. There you are.
Put that cover on.
Wait, I gotta get him in.
Oh, yeah, okay.
That's just, I bet, the same one. Okay.
All right, we have a little calamity. All right, I like it.
You got everything you need? Okay, wait. And let me make sure.
They come here because they were born here. They will do their dead level best to make it home, to come back to where they were born. They mate in Austin. They lay eggs. The eggs hatch. The parents teach the babies to fly and to forage and to survive. They have about a maximum of 6 weeks to grow up. When it gets really hot here, they take off for a cooler climate, lots more bugs, for the migration, which is to the state of Sao Paulo, Brazil, until it begins to cool off there, and that means it's time to come home. So they head back to Austin, 3,000 miles. They leave sometimes in December, and it takes them till February to get here. But then the cycle begins all over again. I think they know that we are there to help them. I see them when we have the poles down and they're waiting out on the telephone lines. They're not going to abandon that nest because we touched it. They're going to be right there as soon as we finish. They're watching while we do it. It is impossible to be unhappy in the presence of a purple martin. They are so cheerful. Their sound is so hopeful. They have a sweet little call. They're singing all the time, not in a loud, obnoxious way, but in a sweet, gentle way. Even inside their houses, you can still hear them singing. There is a sound they make in the air, and there's a sound they make near their babies. And they're both gentle and distinctly martins. I want the doors of my house to be open. That's the way I envision people really live with each other. That's what neighbors are. That's what family is. Neighbors are family. I get as big a kick out of it seeing those new babies today as I did 70 years ago.
We're at a pre-migration roost for purple martins. This is a gathering place as they're starting to get ready to go to South America to spend our winter down there.
Roost is like the final farewell. All these landlords get together and they've worked so hard to keep this community happy, and now they're all gone, and it's quiet here. The roost has thousands of birds that gather there. It's just incredible. They're coming from all over Texas, and this is one of the places they roost. I personally think that they should find a spot on 6th Street and really hoop it up. But they don't. They go to these funky parking lots, with trees. Thousands of them are in those trees.
When somebody says the word, they take off south, and then they're gone, and they're back in Brazil. And we wait for them to come back home the following February. Sort of the beauty of it to me is that everything around us is changing, and yet we're doing exactly what we did in 1992. And the birds are doing exactly what they did in 1792. It's sort of reassuring and reaffirming that even though life is changing and there's all kinds of chaos around us, some things are the same.
sanctuary, shadows fall around us in the afternoon. Far below, the lights come on, here and there, the night falls on